I'd like to invite the audience to please stand and welcome the Army Guard from the School of Infantry. I would like to introduce the 2024 Chair of the Australia Day Committee, Councillor Dan Thompson and Mrs. Julianne Thompson, and the members of the official party. I would like to introduce Councillor Sue Moore, Mayor, and Mr. Alan Moore. Lieutenant Colonel Jared Brooke, Commanding Officer, School of Infantry. Mr. Brian Doyle, Australia Day guest. Uncle Warren Taggart, representing the Singleton Aboriginal Reconciliation Committee. Pastor Scott McKenzie, representing the Ministers Association. Mr. Mick McCardle, 2023 Citizen of the Year. Mr. Lachlan Fleming, 2023 Young Achiever of the Year. And Mr. Mitch Madden, representing Chairman and Board of Directors of the Singleton Diggers Club. And I would like to acknowledge the candidates for citizenship and the nominees for the Young Achiever of the Year and Citizen of the Year awards and our councillors. I'd like to put apologies in for Dan Rapicoli, the Federal Member for Hunter, Dave Lizelle, the State Member for Upper Hunter, Jason Linane, General Manager, and Alex Tigani. Please can I ask everyone to take their seats. The Mayor and Lieutenant Colonel Jared Brooks will now inspect the guard.
Thank you and welcome along everybody who've attended today and those who are viewing online. To start the day, I'd like to invite Uncle Warren Taggart, the Singleton Aboriginal Reconciliation Committee, to deliver a welcome to country. Those of us who were here earlier and were lucky enough to see Warren doing the smoking ceremony and explaining that out the front, I learned something today, and I'm pretty sure we always do from Warren, so thank you.
Anaganya Kimbai. In my language means hello friends. I'm Uncle Warren. I'm an elder of the Wanneroo people. First up, I'd like to thank Australian Day Committee for asking me to do the Welcome to Country here for Australia Day here in Singleton. I ask that we take a moment to reflect that we are living on the traditional land of the Wanneroo people. From a young bloke to who I am today, I've spent a lot of time on country and have learnt that every part of the traditional land of the Wanneroo people tells a story. And through the eyes of our ancestors, we see it, we feel it, we live it. Our ancestors have walked this land for thousands of years and still walk it today, leaving footprints behind so others can follow to keep our culture alive. I ask Mother Earth to open her arms up and give us warmth and love from her heart. But when it rains, it's tears from her eyes. I ask Karwal to paint the sky blue with his wings, and Biami, creator of all, to look over us. And when the wind blows, it's our elders speaking to us, giving us guidance. We have a strong spiritual and cultural connection to this land. It's in our heart and it runs through our blood. I'd like to pay my respect to my people, the Wanneroo people, the traditional owners of this land. For our elders hold the memories, tradition and culture of this land that we work, play and live upon. And I'd like to acknowledge all Aboriginal people, Torres Strait Islanders and non-Aboriginal people that are here today. On behalf of myself, a Wanneroo elder, I give you my blessing and I welcome you to our land. Thank you and welcome.
I'd now like to invite Pastor Scott McKenzie, representing the Ministers Association, to give the Australia Day blessing.
Let's join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your creativity and your beauty seen in our great country. We thank you for the wet, lush rainforests in the north and for the dry interior. We thank you for the hazy blue mountains on the east and for the spacious treeless plains out west. We thank you for the black soil plains and the red sandy desert. We thank you for the spectacular wildflowers and for the rich diversity in flora and fauna found nowhere else but in this great land. We thank you for your creativity and your beauty seen around us. We also thank you for the rich diversity of your people, from the many nations that first inhabited this beautiful land thousands of years ago, right through to those who are becoming Australians today. We thank you for our cultural diversity in Australia. We thank you for the different foods we can enjoy, for the different languages we can learn, and for the different perspectives and experiences we all bring to the table. We thank you for the privilege, for the incredible privilege it is to call Australia home. We ask your help to love those around us, that we would be compassionate, respectful, gentle, careful listeners, even bearing with those we do not get along with. We ask that out of love we will defend the right of all people to gently express their views openly in the public space, even those we strongly disagree with. And we ask that you would help us love others for the sake of peace and harmony. Lastly, we ask for a spirit of forgiveness towards all we relate to. We ask for forgiveness, knowing that we have not always loved others as we have ought. We thank you for your forgiveness, and that your forgiveness never runs dry because Jesus died and rose for us. We pray all these things through the name of Jesus, who is both God and King. Amen.
Thank you very much, Scott. I'd just like to give a quick run through of today's activities. We'll shortly have our address by our guest speaker, Mr. Brian Doyle. Then we'll have the citizenship ceremony, after which the Guard will acknowledge the new citizens, and then we'll invite them to leave. Then we'll have the Young Achiever of the Year Award, the Citizen of the Year Award, and at the conclusion of the service today, the morning tea will be provided by the Singleton Lions Ladies Club. You're all welcome, and hopefully you'll celebrate Australia Day when you go home in your own way. It's special to you. Before I go on, I want to thank Singleton Town Band once again. Australia Day is one of the days that I think we should just sit and reflect about how lucky we are to live where we live and be looked after by people who are being nominated today for what they do in our community. But remembering, of course, we have the oldest continuous serving band in Australia. So how lucky are we? Thank you very much for you guys. And I noticed on the Lagerphone, Pete Knight finally found his instrument. It gives me great pleasure now to introduce Singleton's Australia Day guest, Mr. Brian Doyle, who will give the address for us today. Brian was born in Singleton in 1937. He's a celebrated lawyer, educator and local charity campaigner. Long before becoming owner and partner of Charlestown Turnbull Hill Lawyers, Brian worked in the Singleton's office of the Clerk of Petty Sessions and was the first president of the Singleton Shire Sports Council. Brian progressed to the Newcastle Chamber Magistrate and then into private legal practice as a solicitor. With expertise in sports law, Brian has guest lectured at universities and been a speaker in law conferences all around the globe. Has also been chairman and panel member of various sporting tribunals. In addition to his 5 decades practising law, Brian is well known for his tireless charity work for local organisations. In 2021, he was awarded the Medal of Australia for his voluntary services to sport and to the community. Mr. Brian Doyle.
Thank you for that. And one thing I didn't intend to say until I just heard it, I was once a member of the oldest band in Australia. But as old as I am, not when it first started. Madam Mayor, all distinguished guests, including, of course, all those who are going to become Australian citizens today, to the people who will become our Citizens of the Year, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for the invitation to be your Australia Day guest for 2024, and I feel greatly honoured to have been asked to do this today. It's an opportunity for me, however, to congratulate you, Madam Mayor, your council, all the people who work at the council and the councillors on being the recent recipients of the Blewett Award, which recognised excellence and progress in local government, and that was very well done. I was asked, what does Australia mean to you? Probably better put would be, I was asked what Australia Day meant to be. What Australia means to me is probably better, and what Singleton means to me. Because, as you heard, I was born here. I was born in Fairholme Maternity Hospital. It's no longer a maternity hospital. The building is still there, but that's where all the young people of Singleton were born in that era. And I was born on the 3rd of August, 1937, which means I'm really, really old. My age was brought home to me a couple of months ago when I was in Melbourne and I was asked to speak at a conference. And I took off my cardigan, my old daggy pants, which were belted up to here, and I put on a suit, tie, pocket handkerchief, black shoes, and I went and had a look in the mirror. And I thought, you haven't scrubbed up too badly, Doily. You've knocked a few years off when you put that suit on. But those illusions were shattered very shortly thereafter. When I got on a tram to go to the venue, and there was a little old wizened lady with a walking stick of indeterminate years who stood up, looked at me and said, "Would you like a seat, sir?" As I said, my illusions were shattered from what I'd seen in the mirror that morning. But before I hesitated, and before I could say, "Well, thank you very much, but you should sit there," this young singleted guy, black singlet, tattooed and with a huge mullet, grabbed the seat. At this stage, I haven't looked around too carefully, but if there are any tattooed, mulleted, black singleted people in the audience, I apologise. And I'm sure it wasn't you who were down on that tram in Melbourne. I tell you this because it's indicative that I've been around for a long while, and having been around for a long while, it's given me the opportunity to form my views on Australia, and in fact in Singleton. Dame Edna Everidge said, "You shouldn't judge Australia by Australians." But Griff Jones, the English actor and comedian, said, when asked what makes Australia, he said, "Australians make Australia." And I think Griff Jones was right. And so it is in this multicultural society in which we now live. We are all Australians. Singleton, when I grew up, had a population of only about 4,000 people. It was a microcosm of many of the larger towns in Australia. And the home where I left home at 16. I went to live in Redfern. I worked in Surrey Hills. People said, "You went down socially, didn't you?" But and they weren't the gentrified suburbs that they are today. But I lived at the corner of George Street and Soapsuds Lane. Now, Soapsuds Lane was so named because at the other end of the lane, on the corner of Soapsuds and Burke Street, there was the Federal Hotel. And the washerwomen at the Federal Hotel used to wash the towels and the sheets and then throw the soapy water out into the lane. And that's how it got that name, Soapsuds Lane. I don't know whether it appears on Google under that name. But of course, by 1937, the Federal Hotel was a derelict two-storey building in which, much to the concern of our parents, we used to play. Another favourite place to play was down in the Hunter River, at what was formerly the ford across the river. Prior to the building of the Denali Bridge, there was a ford across the river. And we would go down and play. That was at the end of George Street. Of course, you can't get there now. The temptation to use the river as a place of play was enormous. But in those days, I recall that there was a grassed island in the centre of the river. On the northwestern side, the water was crystal clear and it bubbled over the stones. On this side, the water was much deeper and there were lots of willow trees along the side. And we used to put ropes on the willow trees and swing out and then drop into the water. And that leads me to an event, because Singleton had a connection to one of the most famous events in Australian history. And my connection to that is a little bit unusual. On one occasion, a group of us were playing down on the river when somebody came down and said, "They're selecting people for a film, or a picture, I think we called it, up at the Strand." Now, for those who more recently in Singleton the Strand Theatre was the theatre in the centre of the town. So with no knowledge of what it was all about, we urchins of the river, we all rushed, mud splattered, no shoes, up to the Strand Theatre, and we were told there that the film was being made was Eureka Stockade. The Eureka Stockade was about the revolt. It's one of the most famous events in Australian history. It was about the revolt by the miners at Ballarat when the government imposed additional taxation on the diggers. And I'm sure, Jared, you're aware. You're not aware, righto. The word diggers has been used to describe Australian troops during the First and Second War, and that's where it came from. It came from the diggers at Ballarat. I'm actually pleased you didn't know that, Jared. Up at the theatre, we lined up. There's a large group of young Singletonian youths and six of the most unkept, the dirtiest, the shoeless, were told to come back that evening as a famous English director, Harry Watt, would interview us for the film. I was one of the six. I rushed home to tell my mum that I was going to become a film star and had to go back that night to meet the director. She made me have a bath. She made me put on a two-piece grey short-panted suit, white shirt, long grey socks, polished shoes, and my hair was brilliantined flat with a part. So off I went. Harry Watt walked along the line, surveyed all those who were still in the gear they'd come from the river with until they got to me. He looked me up and down and said, "You can go home, son." It was a career of a budding thespian nipped in the bud by an overzealous mum. A mum who used to say to me, "Whenever you go out, make sure you wear clean underwear in case you have an accident." How many mums have said that? I could never work out how it was that if I had clean underwear, I was going to survive being hit by a car. Nevertheless, the Dobson brothers, who lived in the lane opposite me, they were in the filming, as was John Polly McAleer, whose funeral we went to last year. And the Dobson brothers actually made the final cut, and Polly always said that he ended up on the cutting room floor. The outdoor scenes for the film were shot, I think it was Glendonbrook, but I can't be sure, and somebody will tell me after I've finished speaking. But they constructed what was a mini Ballarat out there, including the stockade. I wasn't part of it. I did, however, get something from the film in that two of the stars of the film, Chips Rafferty, now only the older people in the room will remember the name of our first most famous actor, Chips Rafferty, and Peter Finch, who went on to become an international star and in fact at one stage got himself a Logie or something. No, not a Logie, that's Australian, but he got international awards. But they would spend their downtime from filming up at the baths, which were then the 55-metre pool at the other end of town, and they would throw coins into the water at the deep end, and we would dive to get the coins, get our pocket money. I recall what Australia meant to me when I was asked, when I was president of the Australian and New Zealand Sports Law Association, to address a meeting of a couple of hundred English lawyers who wanted to set up an organisation similar to ours. That took place in London at Lincoln's Inn, which was the most famous of the 4 English Inns of Court, which were the homes of the English judges and barristers. And as I stood at the lectern, I saw carved on the wall a date. It was 1600 and something. And it suddenly occurred to me, I was from a country that had just celebrated a 200th anniversary. That was the anniversary of the day in 1788 when Arthur Phillip planted a flag on the sovereign lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. and Australia was thus, on one aspect, very young. But Warren, it had been inhabited for 60,000 years, and it was very, very old. Today, the 26th of January, has not always been Australia Day. In various states, there were different dates and different names for celebrations. Foundation Day was one. But in 1915, during World War I, a group of ladies got together and said, we must have a day to celebrate Australia. And so they selected a day, and then for the next few years they celebrated it in July, when it's probably raining and it's not sunny and warm and beautiful like today. The 30th of July, the 28th, the 27th, and they eventually settled on the 25th of July. Surprisingly, it was those Victorians, those people from south of the border, who first adopted the 26th of January and called it Australia Day. And from 1935 onwards, all states used the name Australia Day. It's a relatively recent origin, but it wasn't consistently celebrated as a public holiday until 1954, and it wasn't until 1994 that it was gazetted as a public holiday by Paul Keating. We are fortunate. We live in a great country, and though we may all have divided social, divided political, divided racial, divided cultural and divided religious views, provided we all continue to show mutual respect for one another, Australia will continue to be a great country.
I would like to thank Brian on behalf of as our Australia Day guest and present him with a gift on behalf of the Singleton Council. Just listening to Brian's story about the fact that he was born in Fairholme, a number of years ago we were doing pre-poll for one of the council elections, and the discussion was around that Brian Layton was telling us that he was born in Fairholme, and I said, oh, so was I. And one of our councillors, Godfrey Adamthwaite, who came to us from England, he wanted to know what this Fairholme was, what it was about, you know, why weren't you born in hospital? And was explained that there were a number of houses and institutions around the place that were run by various midwives and things, and a number of people were delivered in things in those facilities, in this case Fairholme. And Godfrey looked at Brian and said to him, why were you born there? And Brian solemnly looked him fair and square in the eye and he said, because I wanted to be near Mum. And now, thanks for reminding me of that story. Thanks, Brian. I'd like to ask Mel to come forward and conduct our citizenship ceremony.
On the 26th of January 1949, the Nationality and Citizenship Act 1948 introduced Australian citizenship. Most Australians became Australian citizens at this point, although they were still British subjects. After 1949, immigrants could apply for citizenship by naturalisation. Over the years, the Nationality and Citizenship Act has been amended, and in 1973, it was renamed the Australian Citizenship Act. This citizenship ceremony will be conducted under the authority of the Minister for Immigration and Citizenship, and as prescribed by the Australian Citizenship Act, the presiding officer is the Mayor of Singleton, Councillor Sue Moore. Welcome to our citizen candidates. I will now read out the names of the citizen candidates, and I ask that you please stand in your allocated seating spots for the moment. Nicholas James Fay, Catherine Abella Giulio, Katrina Angela Abella Giulio, Ma Raffaella Uriel Abella Giulio. Michaela Archangel Abella Giulio. Jurere Jarutha. Napat Yongrum. Thanapat Yongrum. Ian Owen Matthews. Isabella Aris Matthews. Maxon Owain Matthews. Olivia Eva Matthews. Leanne Sarah Matthews. Pornpan Portichor. Harminder Singh. Lexine Jan Kuchapin Tago Ilo. And Song Ping Wei. I now invite the Mayor, Councillor Moore, to address the candidates and administer the oath to each candidate.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Australia Day. As the presiding officer, I have been approved under the Act to administer the Pledge of Commitment as a citizen of the Commonwealth of Australia, which is the final step to becoming an Australian citizen. Today's ceremony marks the final stage in your journey to becoming an Australian citizen. Australian citizenship is much more than a ceremony, and the decision to become an Australian citizen is an important one. It's an expression of loyalty and a commitment to Australia and its people. It shows a desire to share a common future. As Australian citizens, you are expected to participate fully in the community, respect the rule of law, and support parliamentary democracy. It's also an opportunity to contribute to the freedom and openness which makes Australia unique. Becoming an Australian citizen does not mean forgetting the country of your birth, or the country where you grew up, or its customs or its culture. What it means is a public commitment to embracing Australian values and institutions and bringing them to the enrichment of diversity. Citizenship means responsibilities and duties: to obey the laws, to vote, to serve on a jury, to defend Australia, but it also brings civil and social rights. The rights to express your individual culture, heritage and beliefs, coupled with the responsibility to accept the rights of others to express their heritage and beliefs. Only by willingly and fully accepting our obligations as Australian citizens can we ensure that the common good and the individual welfare of ourselves and our children is achieved now and in the future. On behalf of the Australian Government, I offer my warmest congratulations and best wishes to you for the years ahead. I now invite the following candidates who are taking the oath of allegiance to repeat after me, and that is Catherine, Ian, Leanne, Harminder, Lexine and Tago Lu. So the oath goes, and you would have your words there, have you? Or you know what to repeat after me. From this time forward, under God, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, whose laws I will uphold and obey. And those that are taking the affirmation being Nicholas, Jutha and Pompan and Sung Ping, please repeat after me the affirmation. From this time forward, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, whose laws I will uphold and obey. Congratulations, that's the final step to you becoming Australian citizens. In recognition of the importance of becoming new citizens, there is a message from the Minister, and I would like to invite Lieutenant Colonel Jared Brooke to read that message from the Minister, and sincerely thank him again for bringing the armed guards to welcome and salute the new citizens to our country officially. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for deciding to become an Australian citizen. Today you join a nation that is one of the world's most successful multicultural societies, with around half of all Australians either born overseas or at least one parent born overseas. In Australia, everyone can be proud of who they are, and everyone should be respected, valued, and feel a sense of belonging. We are privileged to share this beautiful country with the world's oldest continuing culture. This is a fundamental part of who we are. For more than 60,000 years, First Nations peoples have cared for country. Appreciating and understanding this truth is a vital part of what it means to be an Australian. Australians are united by our shared commitment to democracy and the rule of law, and to freedom of speech, religion, and association. Our diversity is our greatest strength, and we prosper by embracing this. We believe in a society in which everyone is equal, regardless of their gender, faith, sexual orientation, age, ability, race, national or ethnic origin. Ours is the land of the fair go, in which respect and compassion underpin our care for each and other, and our willingness to reach out to those around us in times of need. By becoming an Australian citizen, you make a commitment to these values and to contribute to our evolving Australian story. On behalf of the Australian Government, I offer heartfelt congratulations on becoming an Australian citizen. Congratulations and welcome.
I would like to invite the candidates to come up to the stage to receive their certificates from the Mayor, and upon receiving your certificate, return down the stairs and please stand to either side, or actually it might be better on this side, next to the stage. There will also be a photo opportunity after the ceremony. Families receiving their certificates are invited to come up together. So the first one is Nicholas James Fay. Yes. Catherine Abella Giulio, Ma Katrina Angela Abella Giulio, Ma Rafaela Uriel Abella Giulio, and Michaela Archangel Abella Giulio. Jirere Jarutha, Napat Yongram, and Thanapat Yongram. Ian Owen Matthews, Isabella Aris Matthews, Maxon Owain Matthews, Olivia Eva Matthews, and Leanne Sarah Matthews. Pornpan Portichor. Harminder Singh. Lexine Jan Kuchapin Tagolio. And Song Ping Wei. Okay, so please stay standing for the Army Salute and National Anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, can I please ask you to show your appreciation to our Army Guard who will now depart the ceremony.
So if the press would like to take photos of our newest citizens with our mayor and obviously our representative of our oldest citizens, and welcome to the country. Okay. Yep, 3 cheers for our newest citizens. Hip, hooray! Hip, hooray! Hip, hooray! Thank you. I would now like to invite Mr. Lachlan Fleming to give a brief overview of his experience as the 2023 Young Achiever of the Year. Lachlan.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to the new Australian citizens that are choosing to make Singleton their home. Good morning. It is both an honour and a privilege to stand before you today as we gather to celebrate Australia Day and recognise the outstanding contributions from our community. Our nominees for Citizen of the Year, and of course my favourite, the Young Achiever of the Year. For me, Australia Day is a time for reflection. Reflection on the principles that define us as a nation. Inclusivity, resilience, and the spirit of mateship. Further, for me, it's a time to reflect on the last 12 months being awarded the 2023 Young Achiever of the Year. This time last year, I sat here nervously rehearsing in my mind what was I going to say. I sat here listening intently to the guest speaker, Dr. Emma Beckett. If memory serves me correct, she gave us 4 challenges. 1, to eat more fruit and veg. 2, eat something different. 3, go talk to someone of a different culture and share what they eat. And 4, eat one Indigenous food. How'd we all go? I'll have to confess, I failed on the Indigenous food. It would be remiss of me not to mention legacy. I was completely humbled when they nominated me for Young Achiever of the Year. Legacy provides the support to the families of Australian Defence Force men and women who have lost their life or health in conflict. They do some awesome work, and it's been a privilege to contribute in a small way. The last 12 months has been a whirlwind. I turned 18, apparently that makes me an adult. I finished school and I skilled an apprenticeship. In addition to growing my career in a trade I love, I've been working with my employer on some exciting new opportunities within the community. More to come with that. In a world that is constantly evolving, our young people stand as beacons of hope, demonstrating resilience, determination, and commitment to positive change. The 2024 Young Achiever of the Year we recognise today embodies these qualities, serving as an inspiration to us all. As we celebrate Australia Day, let us not only revel in the festives, but also take a moment to appreciate the potential that resides within our youth. We're not only on social media, we've got energy, compassion, agility, and the pursuit of a better tomorrow. Whilst I may have failed on the Indigenous Food Challenge, what Dr. Emma Beckett was encouraging us to do was broadening our understanding of food. It's more than just eating. For me, this is more to be more inquisitive, more culturally aware. I think I'm on this journey as well. Thank you, and happy Australia Day.
Thank you, Lachlan. I'd now like to invite Mel to read out the profile of the nominated Young Achiever of the Year. Josh, could I ask you please to come across the stage and while that profile is being read out.
Joss Davies is a role model for young people in Singleton living with disability, just like herself. In 2017, Joss joined the Singleton PCYC's Friday afternoon Fun Disability Sport and Support program. Then a shy teenager with low self-esteem, Joss is now a confident young woman with a passion for helping others. Since 2020, Joss has been volunteering at Singleton PCYC, assisting with activities during school holidays. She also oversees many PCY fundraising activities, including Bunnings Barbecue and selling raffle tickets. Punctual, hardworking and professional, Joss displays a maturity beyond her years and sets a fantastic example when working with young people. In 2022, the same year she completed her higher school certificate, Joss was named a finalist in the One to Watch category at the New South Wales Young Woman of the Year Awards. Joss is a member of the Singleton Disability Advisory Committee and was a participant of Singleton Council's Our Inclusion Campaign video series, sharing her story about living with disability and thriving in the Singleton community. The Mayor will now present the award for Young Citizen of the Year to Joss.
Can I impose upon you to say something? I know you're nervous.
Good morning, my name is Joss Davies. You've probably all noticed by now, I'm in a hot pink chair on wheels. It's what they call a visible disability. It is made immediately obvious to anyone I meet that I have a bit of a problem with walking. But throughout my life, I found people often ignore me or exclude me because I'm in a chair. I get the impression they think because my legs don't work, neither does my brain. People often ask my mum what's wrong with her. My mum replies, ask her, she can talk. So thank you for the Young Achiever Award. I'm overwhelmed with the nomination. I accept the award on behalf of every young person living with a disability because we can do anything, visible or not.
Well done. I know it's a bit hard work. I'd like to invite Mitch Madden, representing the Chairman and the Board of the Singleton Diggers, to make a presentation to our Young Achiever of the Year. Thanks, Mitch. I know it was a big effort. I'd like to invite Mick McArdle to give a brief overview of his experience as the 2023 Citizen of the Year.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, Councillor Sue Moore, the Australia Day guest, Mr Brian Doyle, the Australia Day Chairman of the Australia Day Committee, Mr Danny Thompson, CEO of School of Infantry, Lieutenant Colonel Jared Brooke, councillors, Acting General Manager Miss Melinda Curtis, other dignitaries, new citizens of Australia, the Singleton community and boys and girls. Firstly, I would like to congratulate our 2024 Young Achiever of the Year, Joss Davies, a well-deserved recipient. Well done. To this year's Citizens of the Year nominees, I would like to say congratulations on your nominations and you are all winners in my book. It's hard to believe that it's been 12 months since I stood up here and received this award. It is still a bit surreal that I was not only nominated, but I was also selected as the Citizen of the Year. To me, it was a proud moment for not only myself, but for my wife, as well as the whole Broke community. Since receiving the award, I have attended a number of events where I've had the opportunity to talk to people out there and who are doing some great volunteer work within the community. It is great to see that the sense of community is thriving in our Shire. Community associations and organisations are an integral part of any community, especially rural communities. In some ways, I'm a little concerned that a lot of those that I see in the associations are of the older generation, including myself, and I sometimes wonder what will become of associations and organisations in 10, 20 years' time. But then I look at the young achievers that are up here with Joss and that, and there's a glimmer of hope that we'll be all right. Our community groups need younger people to get involved, and to anyone out there that are thinking of joining a local community group, especially our newer Australians, I would say do it. You will not regret it, and you will get a great deal of satisfaction in doing something for your community. I know that I do. Suffice to say that 2023 has been a very busy year for both myself and as well as Broke, the little village that my family and I call home. We are now seeing some of the final pieces of the repair and restoration of Broke since the floods of 2022, and while it has taken some time, it is starting to look like the village of old, which is a good thing because this year Broke celebrates its 200th anniversary of settlement. Bit of a plug there. Needless to say, the bicentennial is keeping a lot of us busy in the planning of what will be happening next year. It's interesting when I look back in the past of Broke, we had things like a racecourse, a police station, a post office and telephone exchange, and a few pubs and a couple of sly grog shops. And I think we've still got a couple of sly grog shops somewhere. It was definitely a very busy village back then because of our location on the Great North Road. In closing, I would like to say thanks to the people that have supported me this year, and I look forward to the challenges that we face in the future. I hope that everyone has a great Australia Day. Thank you.
Thanks, Mick. Now, I'd now like to invite Mel to read out the profile of the nominated Citizens of the Year. When your profile's being read out, the nominees, I'd like to, if you could ask that you come to the stage as Mel reads out your profile and receive your certificate. So, across to our Acting General Manager, Mel.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce our first nominee who was unable to come today, but I'll read out Alex Taigani's incredible information. So Alex Taigani is a passionate member and generous supporter of the Singleton community. A past Singleton Young Achiever of the Year nominee, Alex is a dedicated citizen providing services to our community through his work as a youth leader and as a former journalist at the Singleton Argus and deputy editor of the Hunter River Times. Alex is also a member of the Rotary Club of Singleton Sunrise and the Singleton Roosters AFL Club. As a survivor of the June 2023 Hunter Valley bus crash, Alex has selflessly committed to helping the health and well-being of other surviving passengers. This has included going for daily walks with survivors. In the wake of this tragedy that has touched the lives of so many in the Singleton community, Alex has also shown incredible resilience and fortitude through his ongoing advocacy to the state government, campaigning for changes to bus safety regulations. Congratulations, Alex. Could I now invite Kay Atfield to come up to the stage? Kay Atfield is a much-loved and respected member of the local community. For 42 years, she has been providing childcare services to families in the Hunter Valley, both as a director of an established childcare facility in Muswellbrook and also through her own childcare centre, K Care, in Jerry's Plains. Supporting community childcare needs, the local primary school and families undergoing hardship, Kay's generosity and selflessness has been invaluable to the small town of Jerry's Plains. Kay has taken children into her care when parents and caregivers have needed extra support during difficult times. Not only has she provided these children with a safe environment, she's worked to understand their individual development needs and talents to help them thrive. Kay is an active member of the Jerry's Plains School of Arts Hall Committee and has assisted the Singleton Neighbourhood Centre as part of their outreach service at Christmas time. Thank you very much, Kay. Could I please invite Diana Thorning to come up on the stage? Diana Thorning has shared her kind-heartedness and talents with the Singleton community for many decades. A foster carer to 15 children, Diana has provided emergency respite to children in need since 1997. In 2011, after decades of membership, volunteering and fundraising for the Uniting Elizabeth Gates Village Auxiliary, Diana was named Auxiliary Secretary, a role she still holds. At the Auxiliary's fete in 2023, Diana raised vital funds for the village by making and selling 200 jars of jam and pickles. Diana has also been Secretary of the Singleton branch of the Australian Red Cross since 2003. Here she oversees many functions of the service, including coordinating Singleton's Red Cross Trauma Teddy program. Since 2009, Diana has been the Vice President of Singleton Tidy Towns and was heavily involved when Singleton Tidy Towns hosted the New South Wales Tidy Towns Awards in March 2023, an event that brought around 200 visitors to Singleton. Thank you very much, Diana. Could I now please ask Ron Stokes to come up onto the stage? Ron has contributed to the Singleton community in many ways over many decades. He was involved in Singleton Anglican Church's marriage preparation classes from 1978 to 1983, was editor of the church's Contact magazine from 1976 to 1985, and was the secretary of the Gouldsville Agricultural Bureau from 1957 to 1961. For over 55 years, Ron was involved in the Singleton Farmers District cattle judging, the Nyoka Gouldsville AIS stud, and the Recluse Long Point Frisian stud. He has been a volunteer of the Singleton Hospital Auxiliary since 2003 and an official visitor of the hospital for the same period. Between 2010 and 2020, Ron researched and published 3 books documenting the Singleton community's history. Titles include A Time to Remember, A History of Farming in the Gouldsville Area, The Lamp, A History of Singleton Hospital, its Auxiliary and Pink Lady Service, and A Bygone Era, a tribute to the milk and cream carriers who delivered to the dairy company. All books sold out with proceeds donated to Singleton Hospital to purchase equipment. Book 4 is expected to be published in 2024, titled A Place in Time. It traces the history of the Singleton Cooperative Dairy Company from 1900 to 1970. Thank you very much, Ron. Could we now please invite Bronwyn Dunstan to come up onto the stage? Bronwyn is a passionate and active participant of the Jerry Plains community, playing a major role in the Country Women's Association. She is also on the Our Care Services Board of Directors, the Northern Agricultural Association Show Committee, and assists with local land services in the Hunter region. Bronwyn joined the Jerry Plains CWA branch in 1998, where she held the role of secretary before transferring to Singleton CWA in 2003. Here she held the roles of treasurer and secretary before being elected president in 2016. In addition to supporting her local branch, Bronwyn has been the president of the CWA Hunter River Group since 2002. She also had the honour of being the first Singleton CWA member to be elected to the state executive as vice president. Bronwyn has also been on the CWA's The Land Cookery Competition Committee and is a founding member of the Singleton Sundowners CWA Evening Branch for Young Women. Over the years, Bronwyn has been involved in local football and athletics whilst also caring for her family and grandchildren with disabilities. In 2023, Bronwyn was featured in photographer Edwina Richards' We Are Singleton, Portrait of a Town exhibition at the Singleton Arts and Cultural Centre. Thank you, Bronwyn. I would now like to call on Mick McArdle, who has the honour of announcing the Citizen of the Year.
They've even stuck it down. The anticipation is phenomenal, isn't it? Without further ado, I would like to announce the 2024 Citizen of the Year, and the winner is Diane Thorling. Congratulations. Thank you. That's yours. No worries.
First of all, I'd like to thank the lovely lady that nominated me, and thank you to the committee for thinking that I'm worthy enough to be here. And I'd like to accept this on behalf of all the nominees, Bronwyn, Ron, Kay and Alex, because they're just awesome. And I'd have to thank Betty Searle. We all know Betty because she's the one who started off at school canteen and then talked me into joining Red Cross and then talked me into doing the nursing home, then talked me into doing garden competition, then talked me into Tidy Towns, then talked me into the Hospital Trust, just to name a few. So we can blame this on Betty. And it's so easy to volunteer here in Singleton. There are so many wonderful organisations. Everybody is lovely, everybody is welcoming, there's loads of training, and that's all. So happy Australia Day and thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Just hang about for a minute, Diane. Can I invite Mitch Madden to make the effort of walking across the stage and presenting you with a gift?
This is the club. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
Well done.
Well done and congratulations. Along with Diane, I'd like to congratulate all the other nominees. We're a lucky town that we have people like that contributing to our community. Today's been a special day to once again celebrate being Australian. Many people have contributed to that, and I'd like to thank the official party, Singleton Town Band, the School of Infantry for the Guard and the Flag Orderly, the Singleton Lions Ladies Club for the morning tea, those who have assisted on the Australia Day Committee in planning the day, and for you who are attending here at the ceremony. I'd like to invite you to stay for morning tea in the foyer, and can I please ask that the citizens of the year please stay on stage in a minute for a photo with the Mayor, and can I please ask our new citizens to please come up to the front for photos with the Mayor and Uncle Warren. Thank you very much. Enjoy your Australia Day.